we talked about the beauty of some basketball. Unfortunately, from Raptors preseason, we got a glimpse of what will be the starting five of Quickly, Barrett, Barnes, Ingram, Pirtle. And my thoughts throughout the entire offseason were that the fit probably going to be clunky. Seems like a clunky fit for these players. Not enough spacing. A lot of players occupying similar spaces. I was pretty confident in that. People wanted me to wait to see. Let's see it first before we make judgment. And sure, we haven't seen the regular season, but we've seen it in preseason. And based on preseason, yeah, it's clunky. It's clunky. Let's talk about it. Pretty good video here from William Liu. Great follow for Raptors fans. I would highly suggest following. But he posted a clip from one of the Raptors' preseason games against the Boston Celtics. This is the starting five playing with each other. They kind of wanted to get a good look at the starting five together in this game. So here's a clip. Hopefully NBA doesn't sue me for showing you guys this clip. But let's watch this clip and kind of see. These are those starters, and let's see how the spacing looks for this group. So immediately, it's Royal Rumble down in the paint. But even when the possession resets, like we have in this still, Brandon Ingram picking up his dribble at the free throw line with a 7-footer all over him. Quickly is cutting nowhere. Barnes is literally right behind him. Pirtle's going to be occupying the dunker spot a lot more this season, so I don't think that's necessarily bad. RJ is yelling for the ball. He is not open. Like, this is a tough pass through Pritchard and White. If it gets there, by the time it's there, he's got two players closing him down, probably Derek White. This is obviously like a pretty cherry-picked video, a cherry-picked sort of clip, but it is a bit of a showcase as to where problems could arise for the Raptors this season and why, I talked about earlier how I'm not expecting this to be a season where it's like weak East, it should be easy top six. I think it will be a tough season. I expect them to make the play-in tournament, and I expect them to make the playoffs from there, but I don't think it's a shoo-in. Like, I think I'll give the Raptors like a little bit above 50% chance of making the playoffs. There is still some talent in the East, and the Raptors have to navigate through things like this where just pretty simply, if that's the starting five on the floor, you can sag off of Jakob Poeltl, obviously, and get in the paint. The Boston Celtics were sagging off of Scotty Barnes and had another player in the paint. That's two players immediately bunkering down the paint because Barnes hasn't been reliable enough with his three-point shot, and preseason doesn't suggest anything has changed there. RJ Barrett's been better with his three. He was pretty good last season. He's still not like attracting the most amount of like defensive attention and therefore spacing, but he's still like getting enough. Like he's still like hitting enough of them that they have to think about that when he gets the ball in his hands. But still, very obviously, you can sag off of Barnes and Pirtle and camp the paint, and you've got Barnes wanting to occupy like the space around the elbow. You have Ingram wanting to occupy the space around the elbow. You have Pirtle, who's previously wanted to occupy that space. And all of them have talked about immediate availability. And this is great. This is great. All of them have talked about immediate availabilities on media day and whatnot, that they want to make this work. They're willing to make sacrifices to their game in order to make this work. Pirtle's talked about specifically, he'll be more in the dunker spot than at the elbow. RJ Barrett has talked about wanting to make fit with these guys, make them better. Ingram has even talked about that, which is great from maybe your primary scorer on the offensive end. So they're all buying into this and wanting to add to this floor spacing and making this fit work. But unfortunately, I don't see a clear vision for everything just to click for this group. I think in the end, there's just enough talent there that they'll be able to kind of fight through some of these shortcomings in the spacing. And, they're not going to always be on the floor together. I think there's enough talent to fight through enough of the shortcomings to make this team competitive enough to be a playoff team. And I think that, I said it earlier, success this season is making the playoffs. Not making the playoffs would be an unsuccessful season from my perspective for this team. But this is a very real thing that teams are going to be looking to exploit. And I do wonder against some teams where there are going to be a lot of games where teams are playing double bigs. Double bigs, like near the end of last season, became a lot more popular. Like Ime Udoka of the Houston Rockets, he he said his starting lineup for the Rockets, his starting five is going to be triple bigs. Like they're going to go Steven Adams, Alperen Sengun, Jabari Smith, who I mean, he's a power forward. I'd say you could call him a big. And they're going Kevin Durant basically at the 2. And then Aaron Thompson 1. That is a humongous team. Like just imagine the Raptors, and you won't have to imagine very long. They played them in the 5th game of the season. Imagine the Raptors going up against that team. The amount of size that they're going to be able to load up in the paint against the Raptors potentially, and it's going to be very difficult to score. Now, the Rockets are a good team. They were 2 seed last year, and they added Kevin Durant. But still, like, it is going to be... There are going to be games where the Raptors are struggling against teams that can really defend the rim. And a lot of teams, and I think every team is going to be daring the Raptors to shoot a bunch. Where are those threes going to come from? Emmanuel Quickley, I've talked about it last season. He was taking like 7.5 threes a game last season. We got to pump those numbers up. Like, those are rookie numbers. I want to see like 9 to 10 a game. And we started to see that in the preseason, which was good. Barrett's got to keep knocking down like open ones at least 35%. He did that last season. That's fine. He's not exactly a floor spacer, but enough to keep them somewhat honest. Let's keep going in that direction. Ingram, he only played like 18, 20 games last season for the Pelicans, but what he did start to do was take more threes. He's usually like shooting like 4 attempts per game. Last season, the Pelicans, he was taking more than 6 per game. We got to stay there. We got to keep doing that. We need Brandon Ingram to shoot a ton of threes. Not a ton, but like, 6 a game. And for Barnes, like, Pirtle's very good. I know he's not like the perfect fit for this Raptors team because the spacing is an issue. Pirtle's very good, and I think he does a lot of other things to space the floor for this team. I don't want to put the blame on him because we know what he is. Barnes should be a better shooter. We've seen better. We've seen him shoot 34% across the entire season of NBA basketball. We've seen him do this. A lot, like there's just a much greater expectation now of Scotty Barnes, and I think some of that comes from the 3 ball as well. Like, Darko is getting this guy to shoot like 8 threes in like a game in like a pocket last season, and it just wasn't working. So thankfully they stopped doing that. But I'm not saying he needs to take 8 a game, but he needs to start hitting a little bit more of the open ones, because at least Barrett is hitting his open ones. Barnes isn't really doing that, and he's capable of it. So we need to see a bit of an upgrade there. That's kind of where I see more of the path to spacing coming from. It's quickly taking him more and some more pull-up threes. So get ready for those. Like, people hated Fred VanVleet for it, and sometimes Kyle Lowry for it. Get ready. We need to like start doing that again with Emmanuel Quickley. Scotty Barnes needs to hit more. Ingram needs to take the same amount and keep consistent there. That's kind of where the spacing is going to come from. But the spacing, absolutely. I mean, you're kidding yourself if you're looking at this team and saying everything is just going to click here. Like, on paper, if you look at this team, you were going to say, that looks clunky. There could be spacing issues. In practice, or in game, in the preseason, which is just preseason, but in preseason, we saw it was clunky. So I've kind of talked about the ways I hope they can start to find some more spacing and make it a little bit less clunky. We'll see what Darko Rajakovic has schemed up for them, what they're going to be showing in the regular season. Did they not show in the preseason? I don't think they did that because, like, preseason time, you work on this new stuff. But hey, maybe they're saving stuff. I don't know. I'll give him time. I will give him time. My expectation is for it to be clunky. My expectation is there's too much talent for them not to get enough wins to make the play-in tournament at the very least. But we'll see what else they can scheme up. And hey, if in a few months' time we go, hey, everything's clicking, they look great. What an idiot Jacob is for saying that. You're wrong. I'd be like, yeah, I'm an idiot. Thank God I was wrong, and they're really good. I'd be fine with that. And I want that to happen. Please, come back to this if they're playing well and everything's clicking. Come back to this and give me shit. Please. I deserve it.